Hello, it's me, Jim Rabbit. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm back with another video, and this time we need to talk about the first Omen. Yes, I have been watching the entire franchise because I'm going to do a series review. So I went to the cinema and watched the first Omen last week, and I just had to let my thoughts process because this film I have extremely mixed feelings with, and I wanted to just talk about it with you guys. This will contain spoilers, so if you have not seen it yet, go and watch it, because I am going to be talking in slight details with the issues and the positives I have, but it does contain spoilers, especially with the story. So yes, that is a warning right now. So why did I want to talk about this in a little bit more detail when I'm about to do a ranking video? Why did I want to do a single video pointing out certain things is mostly because it has been eating away at me, and I really wanted to speak to you guys and get my feelings off my chest and see if you guys agree, disagree. If you don't have anything really to add, that's fine. I just needed to talk about it because I feel quite passionate about this, because this film has so much potential, and there are some things I loved about this film, but in the same breath there are some things that really bothered me, and I feel really conflicted with my opinion, because right off the get-go, if you have not seen this, I recommend you watch it, because I do think it's a very good film. It's a very well made film. I've heard a lot of people say so much positive things about this film, and a lot of it I agree with, and I will get to the things that I don't like about this film. But I think that if you enjoy horror, if you enjoy film, I think you will like this film, or I would recommend this film to most people, especially if you're into and I don't like to use this term too much, but the sort of elevated horror of the modern day, where you've got your Ari Aster like films, Hereditary, Midsummer, and things on that sort of ballpark. I do think it's a very well made, well crafted, well shot, atmospheric horror film. Fantastic music. So the sound effects throughout the entire film ate away at me. It has some extremely scary moments. It has some performances that are brilliant. You've got Nell Tiger Free as the lead was fantastic. You've got Ralph Ineson as the priest here. It's really well acted. It's really well crafted. The music's good. And there are some moments, even if you are an Omen fan, that I think would really excite you. They've got an incredible scene that's taken straight out of Possession, which I wasn't offended with. I was glad that I was like, Nell Tiger Free did fantastic. So there are so many positive things. So if you've not seen this, go and watch it before you see this video, because I am going to spoil some things, and it would be a shame, because like I said, I keep saying it is overall a good film. However, now this is where I feel most passionate about, because I think this film has made some errors or mistakes, in my opinion, that sour the film so much. And again, I'm gonna state that this is only my opinion. I've seen and watched other people's opinions and watched their videos, and where they've complimented the issues I have. So again, it is all down to taste. But the two, well, let's go to the first one. The first main issue I have with this film is the film itself is so atmospheric, and it builds up tension extremely well. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't put it in the same ballpark, but it kind of has that Hereditary feel to it. It's subtle. It has this subtlety to it, and then hits you with a quite a aggressive and harsh, powerful moment with good performance, violence, and I think the first original Omen does that so well as well. Like the first original Omen is there is so much dread in that film, so much tension building, and it's very slow, and it takes its time, and it's very subtle. And then all of a sudden, like in the original Omen, you've got these violent scenes that really have that harder effect because of the way the film's been before, the way it's built that tension. You've got the decapitation and the violence, and some of the imagery is quite scary, and this film captures that really well for the most part. But unfortunately, there are a couple of moments in this film, and I can't really show clips because of copyright, and it's only just come out and things. So, but there's one or two scenes in here which just felt so cheap. And I've not seen trailers, so I might be judging this wrong because I avoid trailers completely. But I feel like there's one or two moments that are like, these are the trailer jump scares that are going to get ass in seats. It's going to get people watching this film. And for me, there was like one scene in particular, I think, that sums up some of the moments I hate. I like some of the false jump scares. There's like this moment where it's in like a dark room, and there's like this nun outfit that's sort of hanging on a wall, and I knew exactly what was going to happen, and then it happened. For a second, it made a loud noise. The things that I don't like about a lot of the horror that I watched today, you know, is these jump scares, the lack of tension, and it just comes. And I know it's a very I almost think it's a trope now to complain about a jump scare. I think, like, you know, it's become I think they too many films keep doing it, and it's not something that scares me. It's not something I enjoy. Sometimes it might make me jump because I hear a loud noise or see a face, but it's over. For me, the horrors I enjoy the most, the best horror films, are films that linger, which gets me onto another scare in the film, which I honestly think could have been, and it is quite a scary scene, and I'll go through it in a minute, but it could have been one of the scariest moments I think I ever in film, but it ruins it right at the end. Now, I love Japanese horror. Japanese horror, I think they do it extremely well, and a lot of the films like Ju-on and things scare me. A lot of them do, I think. And there's a scene, and if you've seen the film, you'll know which scene I mean. Is when she's in the dark room, and the woman who burns herself is in the darkness, and her shape slowly starts to form in the shadow, and you can just sort of see. And it's quiet. You've got like these harsh, like string instruments. I can't quite describe it. Like score. You've got these whispers as well in the background, which adds this tension. And I was like, wow, this is like, I was getting scared. I was sitting in the cinema with my hand over my mouth, like, oh my god, this is good. Like this, and it lingers, and it's subtle, and all the things that I praise, all the things that I find scare. Like, and again, scare me doesn't necessarily mean it's not scary for someone else or whatever. But it was subtle, it lingered, and everything like that. And she slowly walks to our lead, this creature or this whatever you want to call it. and it's scary and slow, and then she screams. This creature, this ghost or spirit, whatever you want to call it, just screams at her, kills all of the tension, takes me out of this state of fear that I was in. When you watch, and the thing is that why I was so frustrated with this scene was because it definitely had this sort of Japanese horror vibe, like this one scene. And when you watch like some of the scariest moments, one of the most famous scenes is the Grudge coming down the stairs when she's crawling down. There's no jump, there's no loud noise, there's no shock at the end, it's just it plays it slow, it's subtle, it lingers, you're just staring at this thing, and it almost paralyzes you in fear. And this scene was so close to doing that, but it just did this. It did this scream, loud noise, the music went loud for a second, and then somebody comes into the door. It killed every ounce of fear I was having at that point. And I know that I'm very over-analysing this, I understand that. But the reason why I'm over-analysing this so much is because the film was so good and had so much potential. And if you give me just an average or a okay horror film that's come out, I'll go and watch it in the cinema. If it's got things like that in, I might be like, yeah, that was okay, it was whatever, I've seen it 100 times, brilliant. But when a film like teases me with these feelings and these fears and emotions, and only to just go, no, let's just pull that from under you, we're going safe. And that's what I think it was safe. I think they're the one or two scenes that people are going to talk about, and they're going to go, oh, that I jumped. And I think I don't think so much nowadays. I think people are starting to, but I think people that when you jump and it makes you like that, I think people think that like I don't know how to say it, but like I think people think that I was scared then, and I don't think that's the case. I think it's a second of fear, a loud noise, a startle, and then it's over. Whereas I feel like the true horror is those. I will never forget the images that I see from like things like Hereditary. I know I've mentioned that a few times, but I do see that in this film a lot. Films like Ju-On, where it lingers, like films that this is taking things from, like Possession and stuff. Like this film lingers on things, and it takes its time and it's subtle. And this film was so close to doing that, so close to being along the same line as them. But unfortunately, and there was a few other tiny little jump scares, a few fake jump scares where somebody comes up behind someone and like makes you jump, and for me it's just, but those two are the two bits. I think the bit where the nun comes out the curtain was just the most typical horror set piece imaginable. Like I've seen it 100 times. But the other one where it lingers and the woman, I spent a lot of time talking about that because it was so close to being perfect. It was so close to being incredible, and a scene that I will remember for the rest of my life. But I think now it's a scene that will annoy me for a long time, and whenever I watch the film again, it's just gonna make the noise again and the scream, and it's just gonna take me out. And I think it was a big shame. And like I said, there was a few other moments sprinkled throughout, because there are just some generally quite scary moments in this film and some good, but I feel like it's completely overshadowed by this. Now, that was the first major issue I had with the film. The second major issue, and again, it may seem like I'm nitpicking, but I'm nitpicking because if you've got a film, like I was saying, if you've got a film that is, on my letterbox, I was kind of like, this could be like a 4.5 stars. This is class. When you have these issues that take me out of the film, they hit harder on stuff that has that potential, because you almost feel disappointed. Whereas if you just watch any old average 2.5, 3-star film, it don't bother you as much. But one of the main issues that really threw me off the film was the fact that it's shown you the beast, the devil, whatever it wants to be. I think I might need to watch it again to really understand what it was. I don't know if it was a devil or if it was just a demon or what it was, but it's the thing that impregnates our lead. And for me, showing it was the biggest crime this film did. It's destroyed any kind of mystery or sort of, what's the word, like mystical thing about this film. Like this, I hated the fact that it's shown you this creature. I hated the fact that when she's laying there and she's got the thing over her head and it's impregnating her, and you see these hands, these tentacles going around. For me, that was the biggest mistake it made, because I was no longer interested, scared, intrigued at all at this point. And again, it is only preference. I'm sure a lot of people enjoyed it. It completely destroyed anything like that I had for the film. For me, especially and I try to separate it from the Omen series. I do try to separate it from the Omen series and look at it as its own thing. But when you see the Omen series, you don't know what the devil never makes an appearance. The demons never make an appearance. You know, you get like the hellhounds and things, but like, it's the scary thing about it is it's a presence. It's this presence. It's this. If you wrong Damien, you're in trouble, but you never see anything. It's this force of nature, this thing that you can't control. Why did they have to give it a physical form? I don't know, and it wasn't even an interesting physical form. It wasn't. It was a bit generic, and when it showed you the scene of it burning, I was not interested. Like, if you wanted to show this sort of thing, like, this is how I would have preferred it to be, is have these scenes where you see her face and she's got the blanket over her, but you don't need to show anything. Have this sense of presence. Let us use our imagination. Show less. You know, there's too much, like, less is sometimes more. And I think when you're dealing with this presence of the devil or this demon, especially when you watch the trilogy and things like this, mystery, I think, is a lot scarier than showing some tentacle, long-clawed creature with this dog. I didn't like that, like, one bit. And, like, you know, the scene at the end, if they wanted to show some kind of, or have this sense of a physical thing here, this creature here, the scene when the place is burning down, you don't need to show the devil or the creature burning. Show us that curtain. The curtain that we know there's something there. We know there's something, but we don't know what it is. And if you want to, you can have the screams or the roars of this creature as it burns, but you've got this curtain that has this devil face on and this sort of symbolic religious imagery or satanic imagery, which the original trilogy does so well at showing these things. Like, have this burning because it symbolizes enough. You don't need to show this creature. Like, I know it doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily see this big CGI sort of thing here. You don't. But you see bits and bobs, and I see what they tried to do. They tried to make it subtle. They tried to give you this hint. But it was too much for me. It was too much. I would have just loved to have just seen... I would have just loved to have it to have been a bit more subtle. with this and show less, because I think that would have had this longer, scarier, lasting effect. Whereas when you show it, that's it. The mystery that is gone. It's gone, and it almost gives the rest of the series a little bit of this negative feel. Like, and I don't, not too much for me. I've just watched the series and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I watched them after this one. It didn't really have an effect, but the longer I think about it, the more it does. And you know, that's coming from me, who's actually, the one complaint I've heard about this film is the fact that it retcons a few things and changes a bit of the story. The biggest one being Damien being the offspring of a jackal, whereas in this, it's obviously not. It's the woman. Like, that doesn't even bother me. The only thing I think that does is it makes it difficult to watch it in one go. As in, if you watch it like in one sitting, or if you watch the series a day after each other, I think that can affect the overall experience, because it's like, it wasn't born from a jackal. It's completely, it's a different, it retcons that and changes that completely. But it didn't bother me at all, really. Like, to be fair, it didn't really bother me at all. Like, I think if they would have taken a few of these terrible scares away, keep this violent moments in, because that's what the Omen does so well. It's subtle, and then it hits you with this impact. You know, this guy gets hit by a car, splits him in half, and brilliant, fantastic. But take away these cheap, tropey jump scares, which do not need to be there. Don't ruin that could be potentially incredible scares by then just throwing in your average trope that you see every horror movie. And then just be a little bit more subtle in the ending, where it doesn't show you the devil, it doesn't need to show you anything. Have this presence, have a sense of, show the devil through dread and tension and atmosphere. You don't need to show it in a physical form, because for me it didn't work. And I've just spent 15-20 minutes ranting to you guys about what I didn't like about this film, and I know it's so negative, but like I was saying at the start of the video, is go and watch it, because it was a good film. I gave it 3.5 stars. That's good. That's a good film. You know, close to being great, close to being 4 stars. But the reason why I'm so passionate and slightly upset by it is the fact that this film could have been 4.5 stars. It could have been almost a masterpiece if it weren't for a few small but overall major problems for me. And I am going to stop ranting and I'm going to watch the final Omen film. I'm going to get my series ranking out ASAP. And yeah, I hope you guys join and watch it. I'll speak in a little bit more detail about all the other ones, and I'll bring this one back up again. But like I say, I've just spent a lot of time talking, and I'm getting my emotions and feelings off my chest, because the thing that lasted for me was these few issues I had really kind of bothered me more than most films do, because this film was so good and had so much potential to be even better. It had the potential to be up there with the original Omen, which is almost a masterpiece. And like I say, a little bit deflated after some of those issues. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys like the film. I like the film. Let me know in the comments if you disagree, if you agree with me. Let's have this discussion, and I will catch you guys in the next episode. Pieces deuces, and deuces pieces. Bye bye guys, bye bye.